This is a Roll to Hit Gaming First Look. In this video, we begin our 3-part game showcase. The first look covers components, rules, and setup. It is designed to give you a quick introduction to a game you might have interest in. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Let's head into the game room for your Roll to Hit Gaming First Look host.
Welcome back. I'm Lucas from Roll to Hit Gaming, and today we'll take our first look at Florenza 2nd Edition, published in 2014 by Placentia Games and designed by Stefano Grappi. In this 2 to 5 player worker placement game, players represent the heads of the most powerful families in Florenza during the Renaissance period. The goal of the game is to become the most famous patron of the arts by hiring the most famous artists of the period and financing their works. Let's take a look. We'll begin with the family crest tiles. These tiles will be used to mark your completed artwork on either the main board or your player board. There are tiles for each of the 5 houses represented in Florenza. Each player has 15 family crest tiles of your color, as well as 4 player marker tiles, which will be used to mark your position on various tracks, such as prestige, turn order, and church influence. All of these tiles are heavy cardboard tiles that should hold up well. There are also 8 wooden worker discs for each player, matching the primary color of their family crest tile. Players will begin with 4, however more can be gained through play. Each player uses a district board, where they will keep their workshops, resources, and their local works of art. These district board tiles are heavy cardboard and are just a bit smaller than a standard size piece of paper. The building and artwork reference charts are roughly the same size and detail the cost, requirements, and benefits of workshops. These are a fantastic game aid and are thin, glossy paper, almost photo stock. Workshops are represented by cardboard tiles, which are placed on a player's district board. When you assign a worker to build a workshop, it's placed dark side up in the lowest numbered empty space on your district board. Once you've paid the required cost, indicated on the tile, and complete construction, you score the prestige indicated and flip the tile to its colored side. Workers can now be sent to this workshop to use its printed effect. There are 45 workshop tiles in the game, each with a number in the lower left corner of the tile. These should be placed near the board in reach of all players and sorted by number so that they can quickly be located when a player looks to build a given workshop. A number of workshops have only 1 tile, meaning only 1 player would be able to build that workshop in a given game. Artists and preachers, which players will commission to complete their works of art or lobby to gain favor of the church, are also represented by tiles. These tiles are the same cardboard stock found throughout the game, but are slightly smaller than the workshop tiles. You'll notice the symbol in the upper left of each tile. This indicates the type of artist, sculptor, painter, or architect that the tile represents. The preachers are represented by a cross. The blue tiles represent unnamed artists or preachers. These essentially represent historically unknown persons and are not as powerful or effective as the historically famous artists featured in the game. There are 48 artist-preacher tiles included. These will be placed in the included cloth bag so that they can be randomly pulled when needed. Artists are available for a limited time during the game. This is determined by seeding the artists as they are drawn onto the Life in Florenza tracker. These cards are lined up from 1 to 7 near the game board, and the artists are placed under them, creating columns. These cards are used to track the number of turns each artist will be available. At the end of each round, each character is shifted to the left until their time in Florenza ends and they are removed from the game. Let's look at an example artist. First off, these cards are great quality with a nice protective coating. You'll notice the artist type in the upper left corner of the card. This will match their tile. In this case, a sculptor. Next to that is the cost to hire the artist. The number below the artist name is the position on the Life in Florenza tracker upon which the artist will enter the game. Notice the table at the bottom of each artist card. When an artist completes a work of art, roll the die and consult the chart to determine the level of artwork. These are the bonus prestige points you will score for the completed artwork. The more skilled the artist, the more bonus points you can score. In this case, the artist has 2 gold squares under the 5 and 6. If you roll a 5 or a 6 using this artist, they have completed their masterpiece. Flip the artist card to indicate this. An artist can only ever complete a single masterpiece. There are 34 artist and 6 preacher cards included. Money in Florenza, known as fiorini, is represented by these cardboard coins. There are 3 denominations, 50, 100, and 500, and like all the cardboard pieces, are quality stock. Resources are represented by wooden blocks. Included are 12 yellow cubes representing gold, 12 gray cubes representing metal, 12 red cubes representing textile, 12 green cubes representing spice, 18 white marble cubes, and 18 brown wood cubes. Also included is a white wooden disc thicker than the player discs, which is used to mark the current turn, as well as a single wooden D6 used, among other things, to determine the quality of created pieces of art. Throughout the game, players may earn prestige certificates. These are represented by these paper certificates marked 1, 5, and 10. While the artwork on these certificates is simple yet elegant, these are simply printed paper and will need to be carefully handled. To help players remember their turn order, there's a set of turn order cards. Give each player the card that matches his family's position on the turn order track. Notice the captain and bishop cards as well. We'll cover those roles in our sample of play in just a bit. Also included is a turn order reference card. It is recommended that the first player each turn take this card. Having looked through the components, let's pull out the board, show that to you, and show you how to set up for a game of Florenza. Begin by placing the board in the center of the table. The board itself is nice, thick, quality cardboard, and the art gorgeously represents the city of Florenza. You'll notice the squares filled with iconography. These are the squares on which you'll build your works of art as the game proceeds. We'll cover that closer when we get to it. Next up, place these 6 resources in their designated space on the game board. Then, place the fiorini coins on the bank. Now let's set up the Life of Florenza track along the side of the game board. Start by collecting the character tiles and separating the 8 unnamed characters and setting them aside. These are the blue bordered tiles. Then place the remaining 40 character tiles into the cloth bag and mix them up. Place the 7 Life in Florenza cards in a row along the side of the board in order from 1 to 7. These cards are used to track the number of turns each character is in the game. At the end of each round, they're moved to a lower value card until they end their time in Florenza. You can use any character under any card, regardless of the number on the card. Set the unnamed character tiles on cards 2 through 5 as shown. There will be 2 tiles on each card. The 6th card is the guard and is used by the captain of the people. Cards 1 and 7 have no special function. Draw tiles from the bag based on the number of players. For a 3-player game, draw 7 character tiles. Find the matching character card for each tile drawn. The ID numbers on each card and tile can help. Each character will remain in the game for a limited number of rounds, indicated on his card next to his name. Place the character card with the new artist side up beneath the Life in Florenza card with the matching number. Note that both sides of a preacher card are identical. Place the character tiles on top of the cards. In the corners of the game board, you can find the tracks you will need during the game. Place your marker with the captain portrait on the 0 space of the prestige track. Place your marker with the bishop on the 0 square of the church influence track. Take a family marker from each player, mix them up, and randomly place them on the turn order track starting with the 3rd box. Do not place any markers on the spaces with the bishop or the captain at this time. Set the last family marker to the side for now. Place the turn marker on the 1st space of the game turn track. Give each player their player order card and give the starting player the game summary card in your language. Now let's set up each player's home district. Each player chooses a family and takes all of the pieces that match that family's color. Give them a district board, a building and artwork table, 8 workers, place 4 on your board and 4 next to it, 15 family crests, 300 fiorini, and 1 resource cube of each type. Players are now ready to begin selecting their starting workshops. Sort the workshop tiles and place them near the game board, forming a supply. Each player will begin the game with 2 workshops. However, a limited number are available at the beginning of the game. The rulebook instructs you which tiles are unavailable during setup. As we know, each workshop tile has two sides. Starting workshops are built for free and start with their colored side up. In reverse player order, players will select one workstation at a time to place in their home district. The third player selects the stone cutter, which when worked will provide a marble. The second player chooses the forester, which when worked will provide one wood. The first player chooses the pawnbroker, which when worked will provide one gold. The third player chooses the wood carver, which will allow you to spend one wood in order to take 200 fiorini from the bank. The second player chooses the brass worker, which will allow you to spend one metal to take 200 fiorini from the bank. The first player chooses the weaver, which when worked will provide one textile. You are now ready to begin playing Florenza. To begin, reference the round summary card. As you can see, on the first turn we'll start with step 4. Don't worry, we'll come back and walk through steps 1 through 3 as we finish out our sample turn. In step 4, the worker placement step, players will take turns placing their workers one by one in turn order. As you begin the game, each player will have 4 workers to place. Let's look at where you can place your workers. First, workers can be placed on any completed workshop that does not already have a worker present, including those your opponent controls, in order to operate that workshop. Remember, you will pay costs and receive benefits of a workshop in step 6. Special workshops that provide automatic benefits each turn are purple tiles. Workers cannot be sent to these tiles. A worker can be assigned to build a workshop. Workers can also be assigned to hire artists to complete your works of art. You can also instruct your artists to give to charity. In return, the church grants you extra workers, which can be used on the turn you acquire them. Workers can be sent to work, which will earn you 50 fiorini from the bank. And last, a single worker can be sent to the market once per turn to buy, sell, or trade goods. For our sample turn, the green player has the first occupied space on the turn order track and will go first. The green player remembers that they will lose prestige points if they don't complete the artwork in their own district, so they decide to send their first worker to hire an artist. Place your worker on the artwork you wish to complete, in this case, the portrait. The artwork box must not have any other player's family crest token, and it cannot already have a worker. When you place a worker on an artwork, you must also immediately choose which artist you will hire. Reference the chosen piece of art to determine which skill or skills are required to complete it. Then, reference the Life in Florenza tracker to find the artists available who have the matching skills required. Take the chosen artist's tile from his card and place it on top of your worker. Leave the card by the Life in Florenza tracker. You cannot hire an artist if his tile is not on his card. You could also hire one of the unnamed artists, located on cards 2 through 5. They are available each round, and while their work is not as valuable as named artists, they can be hired for free. Each artist has a cost that you must pay when he completes the artwork. Artists with more than one skill will have a different cost for each skill. You must pay the cost for the skill you have chosen to use. Note that you will not pay costs or complete artwork until Phase 7. The yellow player chooses to place their first worker on one of their own workshops in order to produce resources. They place their worker on the forester tile, which will produce a wood during the district activities phase. The black player is going to use their first worker in order to build a workshop. Choose the workshop you wish to build, in this case the forester, and place it dark side up in the lowest numbered workshop space on your district board. Then place your worker on the tile. Play continues in this manner with players placing workers in turn order until all workers have been placed. Next, proceed to the market phase. During this phase, all players who sent a worker to the market can buy, sell, and trade resource cubes with the supply. In turn order, each player with a worker at the market can do any or all of the following: sell 1 resource cube to the supply for 100 fiorini, buy 1 resource cube from the supply for 200 fiorini, or trade any 2 resource cubes to the supply for 1 different resource cube. Each of the 3 actions can be taken only once. Then move to Phase 6, District Activities. During this phase, all workers on workshop tiles will perform their actions. In turn order, players will complete the action of a worker on a workshop located on Space 1 of their district board. If there is no worker present on Space 1, skip that workshop for this round. Then, in turn order, all players will complete the actions of workers located on workshop tiles in Space 2 of the district board, and so on until all worker actions have been completed. There are two possible actions that a worker can take on a workshop tile: production and construction. To produce at a workshop, reference the upper right corner of the tile. Pay any cost listed before the equal sign back to the supply to receive the benefit listed after the equal sign from the supply. To construct a workshop, pay any cost listed in the upper left corner of the tile to the supply, then flip the tile to its colored face upside, indicating that it has been built. Remember to score any prestige points listed on the tile. In Florenza, anytime you score prestige points, simply move your family's marker a number of spaces equal to the prestige point reward forward on the tracker. Once all workers on workshops have completed their actions, move to Phase 7, Artwork. The player with the most prestige points at the end of the game is the winner. Most prestige points are earned through completing works of art. Let's look at how that works. Starting with the first player and going in turn order, each player attempts to complete all artworks he's assigned workers to. Complete any that are on your home district first, then any civic buildings, and finally artwork in the cathedral. To successfully complete art, you must pay the Fiorini cost shown on the artist you have hired. If the artist has more than one skill, choose which one to use, which must match the requirements for the art you're trying to complete, and pay the cost for the skill you've chosen. You must also pay all resource and coins shown in the artwork box you're attempting. After paying the cost of the artwork, you receive all prestige point and church influence shown in the lower right corner of the artwork box, then place your family crest token on the piece of art. Notice the prestige symbol that shows above the family crest icon. This means that you will receive 1 prestige each turn for having completed this work of art. Finally, reference the chart at the bottom of the artist card or the bottom of the Life in Florenza card if using an unnamed artist to determine the quality of artwork. Roll a single d6 and reference the chart to score that many bonus prestige points. Once each player has completed all works of art and scored prestige points, move to Phase 8, Turn Order. During this phase, we'll determine the turn order for the next round. A captain of the people and a bishop may be chosen. First, determine who becomes the captain of the people. Reference the prestige track. The player whose marker is highest on the prestige track becomes the captain of the people for the next round. If there's a tie, then no player will be captain of the people for the next round. If you have become captain of the people, you immediately receive the captain card and prestige certificates equal to your position on the prestige track. Then move your marker back to space 0 and place your marker on the turn order track in the captain's space. If another player's marker is already there, shift it back to the third space, pushing any other player's tokens back 1 space each to make room. Now determine the bishop. If a single player has at least 3 church influence and more influence than each other player, he becomes the bishop for the next round. If there's a tie, or if no player has at least 3 church influence, then no bishop will be selected for the next round. When you become bishop, place your marker on the turn order track in the bishop space. If your marker is already on the captain space, don't move it to the bishop space. Instead, take your 4th unused marker and place it in the bishop space. The turn order for all players that did not gain an office remains unchanged. If necessary, shift markers up or down the track so that there are no empty spaces between them, unless no player was selected for one of the 2 offices, in which case that space will remain empty. Next, we'll move to the end of round phase. During this phase, you'll prepare the game for the next round. Follow these steps in order. Any artist or worker detained by the captain returns to play. All preachers on the pulpits or expelled by the bishop return to their cards. All workers still on players' district boards are returned to the pool, and any character beneath the 1 Life in Florenza card is removed from the game along with the matching tiles. All character cards still in play move down 1 space along the row of Life in Florenza cards. If any character cards left play this round, an equal number of replacement tiles are drawn from the bag, matched to the character cards, and placed below the appropriate Life in Florenza card. Then the turn marker advances 1 space on the round track. If it was already on the ace space, the game ends. Otherwise, a new round begins. Let's look at the phases that are skipped in round 1. At the beginning of each round, the first phase allows players to collect income from their family holdings. At the bottom of your district board is a scroll showing the resources you receive from your family each round. Players also receive a random resource each round. The first player rolls the die and consults the resource table on the tracking chart. All players each receive the resource shown on the chart. If there are not enough resource cubes of that type, each player instead receives 100 fiorini. At this time, players also receive any bonus rewards from completed artworks. And finally, workshops with a purple background will provide their benefit during this phase. Phase 2 is for the Captain of the People. The player who earns the most influence will be nominated Captain of the People during Phase 8. His authority gives the player 2 benefits that he applies in this phase. First, the captain always acts first in each phase of the round. Second, the captain can detain 1 worker or 1 named artist. In order to detain a worker, the Captain of the People takes the chosen worker from an opponent's district board and places it on the 6th Life in Florenza card showing the guard. The detained worker cannot be used for any purpose during this round. Detaining an artist works in the same way. Take the chosen artist tile from his card and place it on the 6th Life in Florenza card showing the guard. Only named artists can be detained. One difference is that only the Captain of the People can hire a detained artist. In Phase 3, if a player gathered enough influence to become bishop, his authority provides 2 benefits. First, the bishop always acts second in each phase of the round unless there is no captain, in which case he would act first. And second, the bishop can convert 1 worker or expel 1 preacher. The bishop can convert a worker from another family, causing him to join the bishop's family instead. Take 1 worker from your opponent's district board and return it to the pool. Then take 1 of your workers from the pool, if there is one, and place it on your district board. You can convert a worker, moving it to the pool, even if you have no workers of your own in the pool to take. The bishop can expel a preacher from the city. Take the chosen preacher's tile from his card and place it on your own turn order card, showing the picture of the bishop. Only named preachers can be expelled. No player can give charity or use this preacher in any way for the rest of the round. Play proceeds through these 9 phases until the end of the 8th turn, at which point the player with the most prestige points is declared the winner. Obviously, we couldn't show you every rule for Florenza in this first look, but hopefully you got to see enough to know whether this is a game you might be interested in. We'll come back in our next video in this 3-part series and show you a playthrough of Florenza 2nd Edition. For Roll to Hit Gaming, I'm Lucas. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for joining Roll to Hit Gaming for another First Look, where we go inside the box, through the rules, and onto the table. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Facebook and Twitter, and join us in the conversation in the comments below. We'll see you next time, and as always, never give up, never surrender.